Running back Boyce Green had 0 rushing attempts for the Browns in 1985 after rushing for 673 yards for them in 1984. Kicker Nick Lowry was in his 7th season with the Chiefs and made first-team All-Pro the year before when he made 24 of 27 field goal attempts. The Raiders' kickoff returner is number 41, Fulton Walker. He returned a kickoff 98 yards for a touchdown against the Redskins in Super Bowl 17. This was the next to last game of his NFL career. In 1985, Marcus Allen only fumbled 3 times in an NFL-high 447 touches. In this game, he already had 2. Quarterback Bill Kenny was a 12th-round pick by the Dolphins in 1978, traded to the Redskins that same year, released 20 days later, then signed by the Chiefs as a free agent in January 1979. He played his entire 10-year career with the Chiefs and made the Pro Bowl in 1983 when he led the NFL in pass completions and attempts. Napoleon McCallum was second in the 1986 Offensive Rookie of the Year vote with 639 scrimmage yards and 1 touchdown in what was an extremely weak rookie crop for offensive firepower. He retired after the 1994 season after he suffered a gruesome hyperextension of his left knee, a ruptured artery, 3 torn ligaments, and nerve damage in a Monday Night Football game against the 49ers. The Raiders drafted another running back named Napoleon in 1995, Napoleon Kaufman, who sported cannonballs for biceps. Number 57, Whitney Paul, was wrapping up his 11-year career in which his first 6 years were spent with the Chiefs, the following 4 with the Saints, and this his swan song season. Not bad for a 10th-round draft pick. Number 88, Rod Barksdale, dropped this long Jim Plunkett pass that was costly. More on Barksdale later. Chiefs wide receiver Henry Marshall quietly put together a fine 12-year career in which he caught 416 passes for 6,545 yards and 33 touchdowns, all with the Chiefs. Quarterback Kenny favored a short passing game against the Raiders' defense that would finish with the 3rd fewest yards allowed in the NFL. The Raiders needed a spark, and it was provided when number 41 Fulton Walker handed to number 42 Vance Mueller, who raced 46 yards to the Chiefs' 40-yard line. Plunkett uncorked a deep ball to Rod Barksdale, who only caught 18 passes in 1986, but had a sizzling 24.1 yards per catch. He was a speed merchant who competed in the 1984 Olympic trials, but pulled a muscle in the 100-yard dash semifinals and failed to qualify. He ran a 4.3 40-yard dash that enticed the Cowboys to sign him in 1987 after waiving wide receiver Tony Hill. Marcus Allen had an okay game, 19 touches for 98 total yards, but he couldn't bust a play for anything longer than 13 yards all day. The Raiders' drive died when McCallum was stuffed on a key third down play. Kicker Chris Barr converted a short 19-yard field goal to make it 17-10 Kansas City. Then he took to the air, first to Stephon Page, and then a 35-yarder, the longest of the day for KC, to Emil Harry, a rookie fourth-round draft pick from Stanford in 1985 by the Falcons. He didn't play in the 1985 season. The Raiders really got hosed by the officials on this play. Stephon Page reaches over Stacy Turan, who has position on the ball, and makes contact with Turan, number 30. Yet it's the defender who is called for interference. Ridiculous! Linebacker number 53, Rod Martin, stayed at home on this naked bootleg play by Kenny and saved a touchdown. Linebacker Lyndon King reached for this pass and made a big play when he batted it down. Nick Lowry's 20-yard field goal made it a lot less likely that the Raiders would be able to cover the 6.5-point advantage that the Las Vegas odds makers had set. Royce Green was the Chiefs' only effective ball carrier, as he rushed 10 times for 51 yards. All other carriers combined for 48 yards on 22 carries. Ron Cherry is one of the most underrated defensive backs of all time. I think that he has the pedigree of a Hall of Famer. He was a defensive back and punter at Rutgers, but was deemed too slow as a professional defensive back, so he went undrafted. He got a training camp invite from the Chiefs as a punter, but was cut late in camp. He called future Hall of Fame head coach Marv Levy and asked for a tryout as a safety, and when another player was hurt, he was signed as a free agent after the tryout. Cherry was quoted as saying, "Never give up on yourself. That's the moral to the story." Number 44, Herman Hurd, played 6 years as a Chiefs running back and gained 3,819 yards from scrimmage with 16 touchdowns. Number 93, Greg Townsend, had 109.5 sacks in his 13-year career, all with the Raiders. Number 46, tight end Todd Christensen hauled in this pass, 1 of 4 for 32 yards on the day. In 1986, he led the NFL with 95 catches. He had 1,153 yards and 8 touchdowns. In 1983, he also led the NFL in receptions with 92. He had 1,247 yards and 12 touchdowns that year. He put up career numbers that fall just short of Hall of Fame tight end Kellen Winslow. Both players made 5 Pro Bowl teams and 4 All-Pro teams, yet few pundits speak of Christensen in terms of Hall of Fame consideration. Ron Cherry had interception number 3 in this game, except that number 74, Pete Koch, who portrayed Swede Johansson in the Clint Eastwood movie Heartbreak Ridge, was called for roughing the passer, and the interception didn't count. Number 43 is Mike Pruitt, who is playing in the final season of his 11-year career. He had 4 1,000-yard rushing seasons with the Browns, and he's 4th place on their career rushing yardage list, 1 spot ahead of his backfield mate, Greg Pruitt. No relation. Number 34, Lloyd Burruss knocked the ball loose from Napoleon McCallum, and he had a monster season by returning 3 interceptions for touchdowns. His 5 interceptions averaged 38.6 yards per return. Accordingly, he made the AFC Pro Bowl team. Plunkett only completed 15 passes for 143 yards with 4 interceptions. The story of the game was the Raiders' 7 turnovers, while the Chiefs didn't have any. Plunkett quarterbacked the Raiders to 4 straight losses to finish the season and out of the playoffs. This was the second to last game of his 15-year NFL career, in which he was a 2-time Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP, first overall draft pick in 1971, Rookie of the Year, and 1980 Comeback Player of the Year. His pedigree outperformed his 164 touchdown passes to 198 interceptions comparison. However, his record as a regular season quarterback is an even 500, 72 wins and 72 losses.